So first things first, leaders, an excellent, not just a leader, not just a good leader, an excellent leader. Let me ask y'all this. Drop a one in the chat. Does everybody want to be an excellent leader? I'm assuming so. You guys are on this call, 7:30 a.m. AZ time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Excellent leaders live an inspirational lifestyle. And inspirational, if this is the only thing you get from this call, I want you to get this right now. Inspirational is not the fancy cars, it's not the homes, it's not the material items. It is who you are. I don't need to inspire somebody with what I have. I can inspire somebody based on who I am, like my heart, my character, how I show up in the world. Okay. It is who you are and how you share the love, the joy, the patience, and the kindness of God in your day-to-day, in your day-to-day life. That's how I personally believe we can live an inspirational life. Regardless of what you have, we all know this. People can look good on the outside, but they're rotting on the inside. At the end of the day, it's who you are. It's your character, it's your heart, it's your attitude, it's your spirit, having that excellent spirit. So I'm going to give you some examples. The way you talk, the way you respond, the way you handle conflict. We heard a service on Thursday night out here at church. It's the way you forgive. Do you show up with a heart to serve? Do you show up with curiosity? I don't believe we can improve if we're still hanging on to things like shame, like our past decisions, like maybe our current results because of, what we did in the past or previously. If we're still hanging on to bitterness or the idea, the need, the want to be right, we cannot improve, we cannot grow, we cannot become better. We cannot refine our character if we're still hanging on to those things. Do you show up eager to learn on this call right now, locked in, ready to go? Are you eager to learn? Are you eager to receive new perspective? Do you show up with compassion? Do you show up with a gentle spirit? Do you show up with, I love this one, and it always reminds me of Kurt Cobain. Do you show up with enthusiasm? Your enthusiasm, your faith is the reason you have the results that you have in your life right now. Kurt Cobain says, real success is being able to go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, without a loss of enthusiasm. Go from one challenge to the next challenge, one trial to the next trial, with no loss of enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm, your faith is the reason you have the results you have in your life. And I always look at that as far as, what's my energy? Where is my faith? What is the energy level of me showing up in my day-to-day? When I show up to meetings, when I show up to calls, when I get in person, what's my level of enthusiasm? What's my level of enthusiasm when I, just get a setback in my life or a challenge or a painful experience? Where is my enthusiasm? Where is my faith? And real faith, trust will lead to, I believe, will lead to committed, loving action. Real faith will lead to committed, loving action. That's my next point. Excellent leaders exude love in their work and their relationships. Excellent leaders exude love in their work and their relationships. And I don't want you all to miss this. I want you to take the things that you're hearing right now and visualize yourself applying it. There's no, Mike Navarrete says it all the time, and I think Cobain does as well. Information that's not implemented is just entertainment. We're not here to be entertained on these calls. I want us to visualize what we're receiving and seeing us apply it, exuding love in our work, exuding love in our relationships. An excellent leader, their love shows up in the details. I love when a leader is in the details. They're not too good for the little things. They're not afraid to get in the trenches. They're not afraid of getting in the crevices, the gaps, and the pockets, the ugly sides, the bad sides of life. The parts of the work and the relationship where It's doing the small things. They show up to the calls. They have that willing attitude. They're not too good to not show up on that call. I used to think about this all the time, and sometimes it'll even cross my mind. I don't want to show up that. I don't get on the call because I think I already know what they're gonna say. They're not too good for the little things. They have that willing attitude. They've got that care, that extra concern. They're thoughtful. And I'm going to tell you, your love as an excellent leader has got to show up in the small, subtle moments, your patience. Next one, your excellent leaders don't shy away from conversation. And this is honestly probably one of the most important ones that I'm going to share with you today, at least from my perspective, as you continue to grow in your leadership and you are working with people and you have a team and people rely on you, people look to you for direction, people look to you for guidance, people look to you for an example. Excellent leaders don't shy away from conversation. And what I mean by that, the way to develop other people, like when we build a business, when we build a team, when we have people around us in our circle of influence, we don't just go out and find leaders, we develop them. And the way to develop other people into a leader is through conversation. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? A lot of times we simply just don't have conversations. We don't engage. We don't maybe encourage with the right approach, and we don't challenge. And this is tough because I believe it's a rhythm of calling people forward in love. It's holding them accountable with compassion, and it's creating a safe space to have those candid conversations. The way to develop leaders is through conversation. It's being able to have those tough, honest conversations, but creating a space and an environment where it's encouraged in love. There's compassion, there's gentleness, there's care, and there's concern. Excellent leaders don't avoid. This is kind of one and the same as what I just shared with you, but excellent leaders don't avoid confrontation. Oh, write that down. Excellent leaders don't avoid confrontation. They invite feedback. They welcome accountability. I'm going to touch on this really briefly. At work, I'm in kind of a more leadership position, and it's exposed and showed me a lot about what it takes to work and develop people in like a corporate environment. And it's definitely different than here. And it reminds me of just having that curious heart, because I'll be honest, I've had conversations with people that they're just not, there's no curiosity to improve. And it's hard to try to develop somebody in a performance-based environment that doesn't even have any desire to want to grow. When I ask them, hey, where's some opportunities you could improve here? Nowhere. It's hard to work with somebody. It's hard to develop somebody that has that attitude that they're always right, nothing's wrong, there's no room to grow. And I want you as a leader who's wanting to be excellent, not just good, an excellent leader, okay, to invite feedback and welcome accountability, opportunities that you have to gain a new level of perspective, a new lens in how you see things. Ask the people around you. It's okay. I think sometimes we hang on to past decisions, as I mentioned before, and maybe this shame or level of embarrassment or inconsistency that we have about ourselves. And, that's at the forefront, and it's not, and it's blocking us. It's not allowing us to get to, hey, I want to be better, and I need to shift. I need to shift where my, where my heart is at with these things. I'm hanging on so much to the things that have been holding me down, that have been dragging me back, that I can't even welcome the opportunity to hear from a fresh vision, from a fresh lens of somebody else that can see things that I can't, because I've got blinders. And that's for a different call. I won't go into that. So next one, excellent leaders carry a fresh vision. It's the same vision. I'm not, we're not up here saying a different vision every week. It's the same vision, but they're committed to casting it and delivering that vision in a fresh and clear way every time. Excellent leaders carry a fresh vision. And I want to kind of be practical with this for you. Ask yourself, what is your vision for your team? And maybe maybe you're like, I mean, I don't have a team. You're part of a team. Okay. And let me ask you this. What is your vision for the people that are around you? Maybe you don't have people on your team directly, but you have people that are around you. You have people in your immediate family. You have people in your circle of influence that watch you. You have people that watch your stories. You have people that look at your posts when you make something on Facebook or Instagram, whatever. Okay. It doesn't matter how many people you have on your team right now or whatever it may be, or who's in your life. It doesn't matter the number. What matters is, what are you doing? Because every person in your life, God has the opportunity to work through you in your example, as I shared before. And if it's only you right now, this is the most important question. What is the vision that is leading yourself? What is the vision that's leading you? If you can't lead yourself, you won't be able to effectively lead others. Where are you taking you? Where have you been taking yourself? Is your vision inspiring? Is it stretching? Is it expanding? Is it challenging? Is it igniting? Not only for yourself, but for other people that may be watching you. I can tell you there is at least one person in this world that looks to you as some sort of role model example. And that should matter to you. That should matter to you, especially if you're in a space where you do want to make an impact, whether it's here, whether it's at your church, whether it's in other, areas that you step into, it doesn't matter. These are all things that can be applied in and out of what we do here inside of, I am. We all have a vision that we've been buying into, and it's brought us to the place that we're right now. We all have a vision. It may not be inspiring, but we've got a vision. It may not be, igniting us into our faith. It may not be, challenging and expanding and stretching us, but I can tell you it's a vision that we've been buying into for some reason, and it's brought us to the place that we're at right now. So what's your vision for your personal life? What's your vision for your finances? What's your vision for your relationships, for your health? If you don't have a clear vision, how can you be followable? I don't know if that's a word, but how can you be followable? How can you believe that other people will follow you? Do you follow people that lack vision, that have unclear vision, that have an uninspiring vision for their life? Of course not. It's not attractive. That doesn't inspire you, and it doesn't challenge or convict you. A great vision, an excellent leader with great, fresh, clear vision, their vision will convict you into action. You will want to change. You will want to step into action. Most people, I believe, and I'll be first person to raise my hand, I'm definitely can find myself guilty of this. Most people are thinking so small because they're only looking at their resources. They are sold only on what they see with their physical eyes and not what they could see with their spiritual eyes. And this took me a long time to realize for myself. And I'm going to share this with you. This is another really important piece. For example, this is just an example. So our AZ meetups, every week, why haven't we stopped doing them? Because they keep the vision going. The weekly Zoom calls that we have, why do we keep having them? To keep the vision going. Why do excellent leaders keep showing up? To keep the vision going. I know if I isolate myself, if I hide, if I keep to myself, if I stay in my head, my vision's not going to be very inspiring. I'm not going to believe that my goals are real anymore. I'm going to feel discouraged. I'm going to feel bitter. I'm going to get offended. I'm going to get maybe even defeated in my heart. I've got to keep getting around the fire. I got to keep showing up to keep the vision alive. That passion, that excitement, that enthusiasm, it's all contagious. You get around the right people that have that energy that maybe you don't have right now. We got to get around that. People want to be around and follow the leader that's clear on where they're going. Your clarity and purpose brings clarity and a sense of purpose into other people's life. I'm telling you, if you get one thing out of this, of being an excellent leader, yes, these qualities are important, but I need you to recognize that it is your example that matters. Like, your decisions have a ripple effect. Constantly, as an excellent leader, keep a fresh vision for what you're doing and what you're a part of, and casting that and sharing that with other people. All right, last few excellent leaders work harder than what is expected of them. They go, this should be common sense, but I gotta say it. Excellent leaders work harder than what is expected of them. They go above and beyond, and this isn't just something that they do, this is who they are. Excellent leaders are not only disciplined, but write this down, they are devoted. And I like to sometimes change that word disciplined to devoted, because it changes my whole outlook and how I see what I'm doing. Like, yes, we can say to be disciplined, but when you just say I'm devoted to this, it rings a little different. It feels a little different. You have a different heart posture about yourself when you say I'm devoted to this. I'm devoted to my Bible readings every morning. I'm devoted to getting a workout in. I'm devoted to the little things. I'm gonna give you an example. Quarterback, you guys know Russell Wilson. I think he's the quarterback for the Broncos now. I think he was the Seahawks, but now I think he's the Broncos. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think it was like a year ago, he was dealing with an injury, like last year or something. And they had kind of caught him at the airports and hotel lobbies. And basically, he was doing, with this injury, he was doing additional exercises and stretching and so on and so forth, all in these gaps and pockets of time in and out of the airports, hotel lobbies, IOAs, doesn't matter. Okay. You're a Broncos fan. Okay. Noted, Eric. My point in saying this is he's doing all these additional exercises and stretching and, film time and trying to get his injury to get right, to get himself better. He wasn't waiting around for somebody to, hey, come film me doing this, hey, waiting for the coach to come tell him what to do next. He went above expectations and pursued the things that would make him better because of it. Kobe, for example, would get 2 workouts in before his kids even woke up that morning. That's excellence. All of this is excellence. He wasn't doing the bare minimums. He wasn't waiting for somebody to tell him what to do. Hey, you should probably jump on that Go Live session. Hey, probably should, not take too many trades. Probably should, start journaling. Probably should, start documenting, whatever. Probably should go out and prospect. He wasn't waiting for somebody to remind him or tell him. I get it. Sometimes we do need reminders. We need encouragement. But the excellent leader does more than he's asked for. He goes above and beyond. He doesn't just do what's expected. Okay. He had a vision. Kobe, Russell Wilson, whoever. He had enthusiasm. He had faith, and his actions proved his faith was actually genuine. I believe that the more real your goals become, the more consistent and the more sense of urgency you begin to show up in your life. You'll get up in the morning when it doesn't make sense. 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, you'll get up because it doesn't make sense, because your goals are real for you. You have a vision. You're enthusiastic from trial to trial to trial. It's not what I do, but it's who I am. It's a heart change. If your heart doesn't change, neither will your actions or your results. It's a heart change. If your heart doesn't change, neither will your actions or your results. Okay. We got 2 more here. Y'all with me? How we feeling? We're rocking and rolling. Hope you guys are good. Okay, let's keep it going. 2 more. I'm losing track here. 2 more here. Excellent leaders take ownership and responsibility. Excellent leaders take ownership and responsibility. They have integrity. Where in your life right now are you maybe neglecting personal responsibility and instead shifting blame, pointing the finger? God's intention, we all know this, it's not to necessarily change our situation. I believe he's relentlessly after a change in your heart. He's relentlessly after a change in your heart. Are you keeping your word? Are you following through? Are you leading by example? Are you doing the things you said you were going to do long after the feeling that you set it in has left you? You can't take people where you're not. And I'm not just talking physically in what you have, but in your spiritual growth, your emotional maturity. Are you learning from your mistakes? Are you remaining open and curious to feedback and accountability? How's your heart, your attitude, your spirit? Are you showing love and grace and compassion, or are you dwelling in your challenges? A question I've been asking myself more frequently is, where is your faith? I don't know if you guys do this or have ever done this, but sometimes in the morning, I wake up, and of course, I don't want to wake up at it's pitch black outside. And I'm tired, and it's cold, it's rainy, it's been rainy out here in AZ, right? And I start getting a little overwhelmed with doubt and worry and fear. And honestly, just kind of keeps me to want to ignore it and justify my head and just say, go back to bed. It's, you know, you don't need to deal with this right now. And Christopher Derrick actually said this to me the other day. He was like, he said, where's your faith? And he said, a lot of times we just need more faith in our life. And the first thing that he does every morning is he immediately puts himself in a position where he can increase his faith. And maybe that's you listening to something, service or worship music, or moving your body. I don't know, whatever will kind of instill this renewed sense of faith. Because a lot of times my mind will go straight to fear in the morning, if I'm not careful. So, and another thing too is I always thought I didn't have enough faith. I realize now that I do. It was just in the wrong places. My faith was in myself. My faith was in my efforts, in the things that I would escape to. It would be in my justification, in my excuses. That's where my safety was, right? And keeping myself safe, in that self-preservation, in that self-protection. It was in maybe other people. It was in results or outcomes. It was in my expectations. It was in all the wrong places. And it was keeping me broke, upset, bitter, anxious, and isolated. And we can't have that if we want to be an excellent leader. And I would say the key is to continue to get into the rooms and spaces and around people that can give you that fresh vision, that can breathe life into you, that can make those goals and dreams real, and deepen your faith, stretch your faith. All right, last one. Excellent leaders. This one is probably the toughest. This has been the toughest one for me to walk in. Okay, excellent leaders empower others. Excellent leaders empower others. They believe in the increase of others, of other people, and they're secure and content with themselves. They think, we can all win. God is more than able to provide in exceedingly abundant ways, more than we could hope for or imagine. I'm thinking of that song right now. I should play it. Y'all know the song. The greatest leader that has ever lived, y'all type his name in the chat. The greatest leader that has ever lived, his name is Jesus Christ. And he'd have 50, 70, 100 people around him, surrounding him. And you know what he did? He gave them all his authority. He gave them all of his authority. When I heard this in this way, I literally got chills. I had never looked at it like this. Okay. He gave them all his authority, not a quarter of it, not half of it, not a little bit. He gave them all of his authority. Something, and I'll just be open with you guys. This is something that I am working on myself. I've always felt insecure when I'm not in control. And I can tell you, I believe it, a lot of our conditioning and the way that we take action, the way we show up, the way we respond, all of it. It's programmed from experiencing things that we've gone through in the past. And I've had many, countless experiences with people and just circumstances that have shown me time and time again why I should protect myself and what I have. Go into that self-preservation mode, just hold on to it. If I've always had the mentality, if it's to be, it's up to me. And yes, I embody that, but not in the sense of like passing the baton. wanting to replace yourself out of a job, basically, to develop the next wave and give them your position, your platform, wanting to do that. And it's not that I've never wanted that. I think I've just, how you experience something repeatedly and, you realize that in that moment or that person, they're just never going to change. And it kind of, you look at them differently, and then you also make adjustments to protect yourself and how you're going to show up. And I think that's kind of what has happened over time. And it's just kind of kept me like this and being very watchful and mindful about how I delegate responsibility and calling people and things like that. But I've realized that it takes God's grace and our willingness to let go for new things to come in and change our circumstances, because we'll always just kind of keep, and this can be applied anywhere, your work environment doesn't matter, but we'll always just kind of keep what we have until we delegate, until we trust. Not, it's not me trusting maybe in that person, yes I am, but I'm trusting that God has a plan, and he'll make right the decisions that we make. And so I want to submit to you guys, going into this new day, this new week, who are you? Who are you? There's many ways to figure out who you are. Look at your bank account, see where you keep spending your money. You'll find out what's a priority, what's important to you, right? Look at how you use your time. Where do you spend the pockets and the gaps of your time throughout the day when you're not at work? What's on your calendar, right? What do you have set up for yourself on a day-to-day basis? What do you do before you clock into work for somebody else? What do you do before you, when you get home in the evenings? How do you spend your time, right? Where do you give your attention? Who are you? Take inventory on your current level of leadership. And when I say leadership, I am not talking about how many people you have on your team or around you. I'm talking about the level of leadership that you lead yourself in your life. How well do you lead yourself? How well you submit yourself to God? How well you hold yourself accountable? There is no accountability until you have self-accountability. We can get in, and I mean, I'm going to always encourage this, but we can get into rooms and communities and environments. And I believe if you show up long enough, like, you will have that change of heart. But you've got to be able to hold yourself accountable. I didn't want to get up at 5 a.m. today. I had to get my workout in. I wanted to make sure I got my workout in, and I wanted to make sure I got my Bible reading done, and I had time to, get myself ready and prepare for this call. And then make sure we get to the Tony Robbins event. If you're in Arizona, we have a Tony Robbins event at 9:30. I want to make sure I got all those things done. That's just me personally, to build personal momentum, to stack my wins for the day. I wanted to make sure that I have to hold myself accountable. So how well do you hold yourself accountable? How often do you get into rooms and environments that will hold you accountable, that will stretch and deepen your faith? Not hiding, not isolating, not making excuses, not justifying, okay? But surrendering your weaknesses, surrendering that shame you're carrying. Maybe that bitterness that's sitting in your heart, that upset that you're hanging on to. Surrendering that to who, Jesus. Being open, being a man or a woman of your word. I said, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. I said, I'm going to be here on time, I'm going to be here on time. I said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, who are you? So this week, we'll wrap up the call here. This week, there are opportunities to plug in. Remember, we continue to do these meetups out here in AZ. Why? Carry on the vision. We have the calls. Why do we keep doing them? To carry on the vision. We keep showing up to carry on the vision in ourselves. I cannot do this by myself. I've got to be in the right places, the right communities, the right people that will breathe life into me, that will continue to renew and restore me and my faith and my heart. I'm gonna read this last part really quick. Where is it? Oh, yes. It's not what I do, but it's who I am. It's a change of heart. It's a heart change. And if your heart doesn't change, doesn't change, neither will your actions or your results. So don't keep saying I'm inconsistent. Don't keep saying I'm not doing the work. Don't keep saying I'm not plugging in. Don't keep saying that I'm not doing what I said I was going to do. Look at your heart. Look at your heart. I can tell you my heart has changed reading this book, reading the word. Nothing's going to change if your heart doesn't change. So I want you guys to leverage these calls to pour back into yourself so you can grow into that excellent leader, and so that you can literally allow God to prepare you and equip you to receive the team of people that he has for you to lead in the future, to bring glory to his name, to bring a better image into their life, to give them a sense of hope, a sense of purpose. It will be done through you, but it's time for you to take accountability. Who are you as a leader? Who are you going to be this week? That's the call, guys. The next call will be on Saturday, the 17th, same time, same place. I love y'all. Have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.